Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Anggun Pertiwi. I would like to present my proposal. It's about the influence of accent in English comprehension test. Before we start the presentation, I would like to say good morning to my audience, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you have a nice day. Okay, now let's begin this presentation. The title is The Influence of Accent in Listening Comprehension Test. The contents of these templates are abstract, introduction, literature review, and the last one is research method. Let's talk about introduction. According to Major et al. 2002, the most widely used additional language is English, with over 700 million ESL user learning and speaking in various countries around the world. As an international language, English plays a critical role in the transfer and acquisition of knowledge, information, science, technology, art, and culture, as well as the maintenance of international relationships. Listening is such a complicated aspect of language learning that takes into account a variety of factors such as familiarity and degree of exposure, attitude, and stereotyping. Research on the relationship between speakers' accent and listening comprehension has provided mixed results and is inclusive. Okay, now let's talk about research problem. Why I did this research. The first one is there an effect of the speaker's accent on students' listening comprehension scores? If this is the case, which accent, native or non-native, result in higher or lower level of comprehension? And the last is, what are the students' opinions on attentiveness? Now, the research objective. The aim of the study is to determine whether the speaker's accent affects students' listening comprehension, how they are react to various accents, whether they are willing to be exposed to both native or non-native accents, and whether they prefer certain dialects. Now let's move on to the research significance. The first one is theoretical significance. This study hopes to contribute and provide empirical evidence to compare the impact of different accent on the listening comprehension test. Particularly for second language learners' comprehension. And the particular significance, the teacher could spend more time practicing a specific accent that has been linked to now to lower level of comprehension of listening comprehension tests. Furthermore, English foreign language teachers can assist students efficient learning techniques and improve their English listening abilities by recognizing the learning challenges in the listening comprehension test. And now let's move on to operational definition of terms. Accent. The first one is accent. Accent is defined as individual way of speaking or local or international speaking. According to Oxford Learner's Pocket Dictionary, accent is defined as an individual way of speaking or local nation speaking, according to Oxford Learner Pocket Dictionary. This idea has been expanded to include the impact of supragmentals on accent. For example, Kang on 2010 found that accent is formed out just by language sounds, but also by pitch, stress, and speech tempo. And one of the worries that cause EFL learners to make mistakes in their accent and pronunciation is these instruments. And let's talk about listening comprehension. One of the most fundamental parts of learning a second or foreign language is listening comprehension. Listening comprehension is a complex psychological process in which people use their hearing sense to comprehend what they're hearing. It's a collaborative effort with both linguistic and psychological components. Receiving what the speaker says, creating and presenting meaning, and creating meaning through participation and imagination are all steps in the process. So, according to the previous explanation, the researchers is investigating if the speaker's accent in English listening comprehension test recording has any effect on second learning listening comprehension performance. Now let's talk about literature review. The first one is theoretical review. The first one is accent in English language learning. Learning a language and developing an accent are intricately related. The four skills required to acquire a language are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. One of the four language capacities is listening. Because we listen and understand the language before we speak, listening is the first and most crucial phase in learning a language for a child. We may watch children who appear in the class assessment in a classroom and the teacher instructs them. And then they choose attention to it and begin working on the assessment once all of the instructions have been finished. When the teacher reviews the result of the exam, they discover that a few students didn't follow the directions. And the next is about effects of accent in listening comprehension tests. There are a lot of crucial aspects that influence students' listening comprehension. These include vocabulary knowledge, grammatical competency, motivation, and other learner competencies. One of these factors is usually mentioned as the speaker's accent. Listeners who are accustomed with the speaker's different accent put for little or no more effort to understand. As Anne Van Engen and Pili said. In a similar study, they identified familiarity with the accent as a critical factor influencing the level of listening comprehension. And also, more research is being done to see what effect different dialects have on listening comprehension. Now, let's talk about review of related research findings. Kickelch in 2002 conducted an extensive investigation. There are researchers use recordings of the 3 native speakers and 3 non-native speakers reading the same script to examine it. As an outcome, students accurately recognized native and non-native speakers in 45% of cases. And a theoretical framework. There are a variety of listening comprehension challenges that have impacted on students' exam performance, particularly for EFL students. Many sound similarities or differences can be generated by the speaker's accent, which is related to the speaker's native language or the other distinguishing characteristic. Students receive identical score in different examination with varied accent in certain situation. It was discovered that their processing time in separate assessment differ. Accent should therefore be a research and a teaching priority. To answer the research question, the research will investigate this topic by handing out questionnaires to second-year students at Mansatu Kuantan Sengingi, Regency on the issue of accent in listening comprehension test. The opinions and attitude of the students about various type of accent will also be studied and analyzed. And the next slide is about research method. There is research designs. The research will conduct qualitative research in this study. Qualitative research is means of analyzing and comprehending the meaning that individuals or group attach to a social or human situation. This is according to Crosswell, 2012. And the final report will be written with a great deal of leeway in mean. The purpose of this technique is going to discuss the students' challenges with listening and investigate the issues that arose in order to discover that the causes that contributed to the problems. And also the setting, the study will conduct in Mansatu Kuantan Sengingi. The subject or participant in this study will be students in 11th grade at Mansatu Kabupaten Kuantan Sengingi during the academic year 2020 and 2021 and 2022. So the total of students is 107 students with an intermediate level of English will be involved in this study. The student will be about 70 years old and had been studying English for an average of nine years. And next about data collection procedures. The study's data will be occur in 3 stages: preparing for research, for voice recording, listening test administration, and questionnaire completion. This test also using a smartphone, such as app or web app, separately record the text. Each class will hear the identical materials read in the same sequence by a different speaker. And to determine if the speaker's accent influences students' comprehension of the test and their exam scores, two research questions will be designed to answer this problem. Quantitative analysis and one-way analysis of variance are going to operate, or ANOVA, or we call it ANOVA. And next is about the research instrument. The text will be selected based on the students' English competence with familiarity with the exam format, test reliability, and text length. Photos, question and answer, chats, and talk will be the 4 sections of the TOEIC exam. The students will be given a questionnaire after the listening test, which will be served as the study's second data gathering tool. And then the researchers will create a survey to find out how students feel about hearing other accents, whether it will affect their comprehension, and whether they prefer native or non-native accents. Furthermore, data must be examined for studies and consistency. Using a triangulation method, the researchers will be double-checked. And to get the valid findings of the study, the researchers will We'll evaluate different sources such as listening tests and questionnaires as many times as necessary. Okay, I think that's all from me. If I have any mistake, uh, I'm sorry if I have any mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.